Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. My name is Jeff. Oh, it's a great day to be an Impact fan, and with that being said, I'm going to be generous today. Alongside me, as always, are the G.O.D. to my Jay White. It's Craig and Max, everyone. Max and Craig, everyone. That's a good one, right?
I'm impressed with that comparison. I like that.
The reason I bring it up is, or use that as an analogy, is the part of my focus for topic number one once we get to that. But tying it all in, I'm trying to stay Bullet Club friendly today. And you know I'm not a New Japan guy per se, but I got the shirt and we're going to roll with it.
I think every wrestling fan has a Bullet Club t-shirt, so.
Hot Topic made some money. All right, well, we got a fun show for you tonight. We're going to go ahead and, we're back live, which is wonderful to the people that are going to be joining us, knock on wood, in the chat there. If no one shows, then we'll just go back, rewind, and make believe we're not live this week. But if people come in, which they inevitably will, we'll start the show and kind of start going to that. But before we do, hey, there we go. Already one in there. So we'll go over the numbers as we usually do, plug our stuff. Got a few new little things coming up that are pretty cool. But at the end of the show, after our topics, we are going to do a game of fantasy booking on a way too early fantasy booking of Bound for Glory. It's only 2 months away, but still a little early when we don't know what the kind of the matches are. But we had some criteria each of us had prior to taping today, and kind of had to book it ourselves. So we're going to come together and with you guys there in the chat group. That was my point of mentioning you guys. We'll vote and come up with the best card that seems practical. But Craig, why don't you hit us with those numbers that don't lie?
So, yes, it's me. It's the MIC, Craig, aka Mr. Impact for the TNAIW channel. And as if you didn't know already, you can find us here, you can find us there, you can find us damn near everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Sounder, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcast. Stay tuned for everything we have coming up, obviously. State of Impact will make its return very, very soon, so keep an eye out for that.
For real at this time.
And as you can see down below that side, yeah, I got it right this time, down that side, we have all of our numbers. We're up on Twitter, slightly down on audio, but still strong. Up on YouTube, up on, same on Twitch, same on Facebook. But just give us a like wherever you can.
Yeah, we could also thank you, whoever DHPAROLA0073 spam. Want to become famous? Buy followers. See, there we go. We don't even need to plug this anymore. We could just buy our followers. Oh, deleted by the moderator. Who is our moderator?
I
am. Well, yeah, that's great.
Just like Triple H, I bury people I don't want to see.
We'll take it. Well, with that being said, the numbers don't lie. They're there at the bottom. We appreciate every like, subscription, follow that we're gaining. Of course, we'd like 1 million followers. We say that every week. But at the same time, one fan, one friend at a time. That's our goal here. So thank you to everyone who keeps checking in with us and continuing to come back. We're excited for things to come. As Craig mentioned, State of Impact is coming. It's just we're trying to roll out some bunch of stuff in the fall season heading into Bound for Glory. Some new shows coming up that I think you guys will really like. And we're spreading our nest. Is that what it's called? Making the nest bigger? I don't know. I've been in the treehouse all day. What's going on? All right. With that being said, Craig, do you want to kick it off to? Oh, wait. It is speaking. She just came in there. we did a little bit. You'll see of things popping up here. We did a partnership with Rangers of Wrestling. So she will now be doing the hosting of the Power Rankings. Since they were already the Power Rangers themed and the wrestling tie-in makes sense, make sure you go follow her, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you for being a part of the TNAIW family. I'll kick it to Craig. Craig.
Yes, so it's time for those Power Rankings. And with a new debut on the channel, let's see who got to number 1. Of course, you can always vote for yours by joining the rankings committee. Just hit us up. I'm sure we can add you in. And if I disagree, don't disagree, agree, disagree. Let's see who made it to number 1 this week.
All right, here we go.
Hi everyone, this is Datila from Rangers of Wrestling. Here's your TNAIW Top 10 for this week. Number 10, Juice Robinson. Number 9, Tasha Steeles. Number 8, Jordan Grace and Rachel Elring. Number 7, Frankie the Future Kazarian. Number 6, World Champion Kenny Omega. Number 5, Tag Team Champions The Good Brothers. Number 4, Sami Callihan. Number 3, the Knockouts Champion Deonna Purrazzo. Number 2, Chris Bay. Number 1, Eddie Edwards. That was your top 10 Impact Wrestlers of the week. Do you guys agree? Let us know at TNAIW channel. Back to you guys.
All right, do you agree? I really like, and I'm going to be a mark for myself, I don't give a shit. Yep, old Kaz in there, for the future, way back when. I guess still the future. Bay being in Bullet Club, it's beautiful. Beautiful stuff. I liked it. Did you like it? Hey, more phenomenal. I think so as well. I enjoyed that. All right, Craig, we had a lot to talk about.
No, yeah, that was really good. I like that.
Thanks. All right.
So good. But yes, it's time for those hot topics. Starting off with number 1, Impact on Access TV. Chris Bay defeating Juice. Homecoming King and Queen interrupted by Mickey James and Melina. Jake Something becoming number 1 contender for the X Division Championship. Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering defeating Fire and Flavor with a return by Flavor, aka Tasha Steeles. We had Macklin defeating Jarcy in all of a minute. Sami Callihan, Frankie Kazarian, and Eddie Edwards defeating the Elite. Also, Impact Insiders making its kind of official debut this week. Thoughts and feelings on the switch and the reaction from people so far. Let's go to Jeff. I know what to say on this one.
Yeah, I do, and I won't. I might break it up a little bit and spit it back to you, Max, here and there, because I think there's 3 different answers to this here. One, Impact on Access TV. I say the same thing in the chat group, and people think I'm a homer or biased. I say the same thing every week. We are transparent as transparent can be. It's no bias. We are pro wrestling, and I really mean that. I mean it because then when I say something's good, I really mean that it's good. If I continuously say something's good, it's because I feel like it's continuously good. So for this episode, I'd be sitting here just saying everything's fucking good, because it feels like from We Own the Night up until, I will say, the Tennille segment was a little bit of a Buzz Killington there. And there's ways around that. I like the idea. I like some of the jokes. It just needs a little bit of fine-tuning. A little
Refinement.
Refinement, yes, indeed.
Polishing, maybe.
Now we're getting somewhere. Polishing. Yeah, no, but other than that, that was a little bit of a momentum killer. Still love the idea. I think it'd be good, but I really feel like it's home run after home run, and I don't know if it's because the fans are there and we're not used to it, so it's an added, it's just like, oh shit, everything's better, or it's just since before Slammiversary, we'll say, they've been hitting it out of the park. routinely, and maybe that's the Bullet Club making more of a presence or whatever it may be, but outstanding. And I don't want to harp on that too much because I have so much other stuff to talk about, but I thought it was a great episode from beginning to end, besides that one little hiccup, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now I'll hit on the Impact Insider thing and then throw it over to Max, and then I'll come back around for another point I want to make about that in more depth, and the Twitch crew. So as far as Impact Insider, I'm already signed up, $5.99. I don't know why. I should have got the 99-cent one, but I'm there. So either way, that's an extra $5.99. We'll say a minimum 99 cents, right? Is that they're getting out of each play. They have 2,200 views as of right now for that last episode, which means they at least made 2,200 in subscriptions, which is better than the 0 they would make on Twitch. I will say what I didn't like was obviously the timing of it, and once again it's their first week with it, so patience. I'll give it a little bit of patience. I'm not gonna jump off a cliff yet. Usually they fix things or they find other avenues to work them out. But so we'll give it the benefit of the doubt for a little bit. But as far as that, I still, even if it ran smoothly, I'm not a huge fan of it playing at a different time than some people that are watching on Access TV. There is a community. I don't want to be like the Twitch folk, which I won't try to make any enemies here. I'll talk about that after I kick it to Max. But I don't want to sound like I'm complaining or hyping up something, but I really feel like the Twitter following that they get and that rep there is really important. So I hope they fix that. So the timing's on there. Because I like to talk to people all over the world, or different sides of the country, rather. And we're talking about the same thing happening at the same moment. It's really cool. You can interact. People comment on the posts we put. We comment on other people's posts. Impact's posting at the same time. It's just easy and precise. I like it for every other reason except that. And yeah, of course, the fuck up was the fuck up. And maybe it's on YouTube's part. It's a new subscription service, so we don't know. But either way, it sucked balls, right? And there were a lot of people who were already waiting for something to happen to jump on Impact's nuts. And this was just icing on the cake. So it didn't help there, but after I think the episode aired, I didn't see too much complaining about it, and because the content in the episode, I think, was sure as hell worth the wait.
No, so I'll give my whole version of everything, and then I'll throw it back to Jeff for the closing. So I really liked the episode. I loved the... I don't know. Now, there's still technically one more episode that they filmed, right? You were there. Is there stuff? Is there one other episode that we haven't seen? At least, yes. Okay. So so there may still be more stuff with the Chris Bay Bullet Club. Once again, I wasn't there, but that whole storyline's been playing out over 3 weeks. I liked that storyline. I liked that he's now officially a part of Bullet Club. I thought that was really well done with everything. I thought the episode was good, and I really agree with you. The episodes have just been good. It's fun wrestling. It doesn't feel like a chore to watch. I thought the crowd was great. I saw a lot of people on Reddit talking about how great the crowd was, that it brought something there. Personally, I'd like to see them go to maybe a shorter filming schedule, just so that you have the option of kind of doing more stuff and not so much. But I want them to continue to have fans there. They need to have it. It allows the wrestlers to play off it, and it really does add a lot to the shows. But once again, even without the crowd before that, they were still putting out great shows, and they've continued with that. They've taken the momentum from Slammiversary and really from this partnership with AEW and New Japan and just continued to grow on it. And so I do. Their shows are really good. Between them and AEW, it's the two wrestling shows that I want to watch. And I'm like, oh, I want to watch these live. Yeah. WWE, whatever. When it comes to the YouTube thing, I agree with you about the starting. I wish they've all started at the same time. I understand that the YouTube is commercial free. I don't have the YouTube. I actually watch on Access TV. But I wish they did similar to what they did when they were on Twitch, where they were like, hey, we're going to run some fake commercials or throwback. Maybe run a commercial for your next pay-per-view or something, just so that, like you said, it's fun to see, oh, this happened, let me tweet about it, let me see what people are saying. And if it happened 15 minutes ago to most people and you're now just it kind of throws some things. It can also lead you to spoilers. So I wish they would make it so it's set up in that same hour. I think that would be a benefit in the long run. As for people complaining about Twitch, I said it on Twitter to a couple people. If you're complaining, oh, now I can't watch Impact, I'm done. You weren't watching Impact to begin with. You can watch it on Twitch. You can on YouTube. You can watch it on their app. You can pay $25 a month and get Sling TV, which gives you access and TNTs. You can watch AEW and Impact for $25 a month. Like, there's zero reasons for you not to be able to find Impact at this point. Like, if you can't quote unquote find it, you're either A, a fucking moron, or B, you're not actually watching it, and you're just bitching to bitch. And it's the same thing. Like I got into somebody on Reddit one time where he was complaining about something. I was like, he was basically like, oh, Impact doesn't have any good wrestlers. And I was like, you clearly haven't watched Impact in years. And he's like, yeah, I don't. I'm like, then why are you going to sit here and run your mouth about anything that they do? Like, your dumbass has no idea what you're talking about. And that's what you get. Yeah. You get a lot of people who jump on the it's cool to talk bad about Impact hype train, and they just run with it. And those people you're never going to pick up. But I think the excuses or the complaints, I just think they're overblown. Get the Impact app. Wasn't it free on there the next day?
After the show.
Yeah. Yeah, so right after the show. There you go. So it's right after the show. It's free. If you want to watch it, watch it.
So this is going to be my rant. I said I was on zero fucks mode today. In the chat there, and it's not that I want to offend you. I'm not going out of the way to offend somebody or try to. I'm just going to speak how I feel about this Twitch situation and go from there. Okay. So, like I said, if something is positive or I feel something's positive, I'll say it. But when there's something negative, I will say that as well. You know, for the first 10 minutes of it not being up at 8:30, I gave no fucks. I know that Impact is an hour and 18 minutes to an hour and 22 minutes with no commercials. So, hey, let's give it that. Fire alarm. Let's get, I'll give them that minutes, that amount of time and just see. I'll be patient. Okay, then it sucks balls and I have to rate Impact and say, hey, guys, what the fuck's going on? And eventually it goes up and it's already 12 minutes in. You know what I did after that? I fucking watched it. And then, after it was done, I went and watched the first 12 minutes that I missed. My life was not affected. I had other things I was doing. I was talking to the friends in the group chat. I was playing with my child. There's things I did in that time that I everyone makes it seem like they're on I know I'm old, but they're in the movie fucking Speed. Or with whatever the one with Jason Statham is, where you got something strapped to you, and if your mind's not moving 20 miles per hour for a certain amount of time, it's going to explode. Just chill out, relax.
Do people remember I don't remember how many people were alive during Monday Night Wars, but if you got home 10 minutes late, you just missed the first 10 minutes of the show. You never got to see it again. It was gone.
I understand we're in a different time, and everyone wants the thing at the palm of their hands. But the thing is you will. Just a little bit later. Like, it's okay, guys. We're already not tweeting at the same time. You're not missing anything. If you're itching to get Impact, you need to go to Methadone Clinic, my friend, because that is not Impact that you are itching for that bad. Like, that's the
or pay $25 and get Sling TV.
Go. But my point is this. Now that I've said the douchiest way I could say it, I'll say this as well. When we said we were going to these shows, I said, our job is not to bring TNAIW signs. It's not to stick out. It's not to wear a shirt that says, hey, look at me, I'm Jeff from some come sub to my thing that has 200 followers or whatever. Actually, 185. If you guys could hit sub, that would be great right now. It wasn't about bringing attention to us, but bringing attention to the show, putting a soundtrack behind their soundtrack that added to the wrestlers and what they were doing, okay? But these Twitch folk, and I hate saying it like this, but I know that a lot of them are younger than me or a lot more hostile than me, but I'll say this. Every time I went on, they say it's a family and a community. Every time I went on there, I felt like I was a fucking wearing a skirt going into a cowboy bar. You know what I mean? It's just like no one's welcoming. Everyone's got cliques. Guys, we're all Impact fans. That's the point of this. It's not about you getting yourself over and then through the eyes of Impact. It's about getting Impact over. And to get Impact over, you need to be inclusive. Okay? So, yes, losing the easy way to watch it on Twitch. Let's keep going back. To wait a day before to realize, oh, we won't get it on Twitch? Yeah, that sucks balls. But I would say it's safe to say that Impact didn't announce it a day before it doing so if they didn't need to. If there was an issue, if there wasn't, you know what I mean? If it was just all gravy, they would have sent out a press release. They would have had it ready. So there had to be something, contract up, negotiations fell through. There has to be something where they said, we're taking the chance with YouTube. It's going to be worth it. And unfortunately, yes, these kids built a 4,000 person-ish community on Twitch. Wonderful. That is wonderful. But eventually, with our, what is it right now, 4.22, or the number 2 wrestling organization in the world on YouTube, especially gained from year to year, if we could get one person of that, now granted, this is on top of the revenue they've already made from the commercials. Okay, so they're already making, I think we talked about or revealed, 3.5 to 5 million a year just on YouTube alone prior, with the 4.2 million and all the plays and the commercials there. Which, mind you, commercials are for good movies, good products. I don't have to see a Ric Flair fucking commercial 37 times in one night for a car shield. So they're making money off. If you are a fan of that product, of this company, you shouldn't be sitting there and crying in your Impact shirts and saying, why would they do this to me? You're never going to have my fandom again. When you should be saying, okay, that sucks, but look at the money they're going to be making from this. All that talk of you can't pay your wrestlers or you can't get the big names, gone. The revenue we're making from YouTube negates the 4,000 community, and kudos to them. I'm not taking anything away from that. That was on Twitch. I'm sorry, this isn't about us. It's about the company, and the company's staying here. I've been here since day one, and I still don't think they owe me anything. So that's where I want to go. Now, at the same time, and one more thing I do want to mention is 169 million people have watched the most watched YouTube clip from Impact all time. 169 million people have watched it. I won't say what it was. I'm not going to give it any more plug. We'll just say it beautiful people-ish. But you think Twitch numbers were coming to 169 million? You think anyone's going back and watching Twitch? And I go to Twitch at night and watch Impact sometimes. There's 50 people in the feed, so I don't want to hit.
There's 79.
There's 79 right now. So I get your point, but I've learned a long time ago that this world doesn't belong to us. It belongs to them. So we're here, I'll end it off on that. But God help it, guys, relax.
Yeah, if half of Impact's current YouTube subscribers subscribe to the 99p 99 cents level, Impact would be just fine.
Yeah. There's no no more jokes that our budget's spent on a limo. Do you know what I mean? Like, we can afford things that people don't think we can.
So moving on to number 2, and trying to keep these shorter by the minute. Number 2, Ruby Soho and the Iconics head into AEW. More WWE releases happening last night. What's going on, and is Vince nuts, Max?
So I don't think he's nuts. I actually surprisingly read an article talking kind of about the releases today on Reddit, where Chandra Ross Sapp spoke with a WWE official, basically saying that originally, prior to COVID, what WWE's intention was they were kind of stashing talent, and they were planning to open up like NXT and performance centers like all over the world, and then you'd have like guys go to different ones and show up on the shows. I think that was their plan, and then COVID hit, and you're like, oh shit, we've got 700 people on our roster, and we can't tour, we can't open up NXT Japan, NXT Mexico, NXT India, whatever. What are we doing with all these people? And I think it just kind of came to the point where they realized there's no point for us to continue to hoard talent. We're not going to have this massive. They're not going to create NXT. Is it going to become indies? The indies all over the world for people. So I think they're probably going to have their performance center in Florida, probably one in the UK, maybe one in Japan. I don't know. But I mean, I think you can question the people they're letting go. Why are they letting go of this person when you just brought back Eva Marie? Like, those are kind of some weird decisions. But the actual releasing people, we've talked about it. I mean, I feel like Jeff and I have talked about it for a while. Their roster was massive. And these people, like, there were people that you didn't see for months. I'm not on Raw. I'm talking about not on Main Event, not on anything. Like, you would forget these people were here. So to thin down your roster to where you can use everybody you have isn't a bad idea. It's a smart decision by the WWE. It just happens that it's all coming out so fast. So that's my thought on it.
The short answer for me is Vince Nuts, no. I actually stepped back a couple days ago and thought about it, and I was like, this guy's an evil genius. He is. Okay. What is the one thing we have thought Vince is going to do in for a long time now? Sell, right? Everyone thinks he's going to sell. So you bring in this guy who has no attachment to wrestling and Nick Khan, and you say, hey, where can I cut some fat to get this the best position possible for me to sell? I think that's what they're doing. That's step one. Step two, you say, okay, why would he cut the people that we in the wrestling community think are big names or could affect a Bronson Reed? Yes, I agree completely with that. Jake Atlas. There's good names in there that are going to be industry getters. Bobby Fish, he's an ROH guy, and he's already near 40. So, but great guy and great talent wherever he goes. But yes, there's some big names there. But take that away from it. It's because, one, WWE is going to make those ratings the same no matter what. They're going to get the same amount of money. The ratings they get aren't really affecting. They're in a contract. I'm sure if they lose that contract, there's a nice buyout. So it's not like he cares about bottom line right now. The 140,000 to the 400,000 to the million people they lose on an average, and then it goes back up. They don't care. They don't care because they're locked into a contract right now. They're not selling at the moment. Now, so step one, I think, is what they do there, which is release, cut some fat. Other thing is, why give away people that the internet wrestling community, which is very small, relatively speaking, compared to the entertainment business, which they're in? Because what is the best time to sell in a company? They're thriving, right? There's good competition, so the business is expanding and booming. He's cutting people that he can say, here, go make him a star. Go have fun. Go do Broken this or Deletion that or your Fun House. He doesn't give a shit, because all you're going to do by making the business better over in AEW or Impact or ROH or New Japan is you're making the business better for him. That's all it comes down to. Okay, so he's that's where I think they're going. Now, the one thing I do want to mention this before we jump, because I know I'm blabbing on. But one thing we should notice is that the rumors of what they're going to do with NXT. If they're making this a business, they are going to start pushing. I know John Cena said he was worried about the future. I think they're going to push everyone that was worthy of being on a main event page. They're going to move them up, and they'll be jobbers or whatever they'll be. But they'll find a fill there. They'll make the tight roster up there of all good traveling all stars of wrestling, right? As what WWE used to be. And then everyone below in that NXT is supposedly going to be back to being rookie or like training facility. So who that benefits in the long run, think about that. That benefits us at Impact. Because no longer are we competing with NXT as a commodity, as a TNA 2.0. We're now only having to compete with AEW and WWE. Raw, SmackDown, New Japan. So it helps the market for us as well. So it's unfortunate because they built some really good stuff there. As much as I don't like NXT for personal whatever reasons, you can't knock the grind that they put into that, building that brand.
It's a difficult one for everyone involved, but
yeah,
I mean the future can only get better for these wrestlers. So number 3, moving on. Dark Order receiving an Impact Tag Team title shot in AEW Pittsburgh. Scott D'Amore is set to be in attendance. Do you like it? Where do you think this leads, Jeff?
One, I guess it leads to Pittsburgh. So I actually got that going for you.
That's right.
I don't know what that means. He doesn't live in Pittsburgh.
I don't know.
But he's wearing the hat.
I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Yeah, I think it means that all that stuff that Tony Khan was speaking of last week, you got to remember, Tony Khan is a worker as well. That's what his job is. He loves wrestling. Of course, he's going to understand how to work, right? So when he says the reason Impact and I haven't done much more is because we're taped so far in advance. Well, now that we're doing live in front of fans and we're able to map it out because travel's a little better and Scott D'Amore's coming. So Tony Khan was at Slammiversary and those tapings. We saw him there. People took pictures with him. I think Christine took pictures of him. So I think they have a game plan past this, and we're now starting because there's fans, and it's better to have people make surprises and get pops than to just come out to people on Twitter. I think we're going to start seeing some more. We better not lose the titles to Dark Order. Make that apparent. But yeah, man. I think this is, like I always say, I think this is the tip of the iceberg, and now that we're starting to see Impact defended there, this is a start to something good, I hope.
So, one, I like to point out that Dark Order would be amazing in Impact. I think they would be a great group to show up. With that being said, I don't want them to win the titles, mostly just because the Good Brothers just won them. If they would have never lost them, if they would have been the ones to beat FinJuice instead of Violent by Design, I would have been completely fine with them losing them now. But they just got them less than 30 days ago. And they're not going to lose them. I say that. But no, I think it's a great thing for Impact and AEW in general. Like, you're working together. Why not have these guys? One, tag divisions are already hard because they require double the amount of people to fill the division. So why not have cross promotion? Why not have some of your guys go over and do things? You can have different titles defended, and then it gets interest in the product. If Miro comes over and beats Eddie Edwards for the TNT title, maybe that gets people to say, "Oh, cool. Let me go ahead and tune into AEW." Maybe this. So I think it's a good idea to have all this stuff to work together, especially if you're going to continue this relationship of working together and sharing talent. Good Brothers are already wearing the belts over there all the time. Why not just have the title match there and just further a storyline? Like, the storylines don't necessarily have to remain Impact and AEW. You can now have the Dark Order do a run-in on Impact, and I think it's a good idea. Once again, I don't think they should win. I think that would be horrible. But overall, I just think that it's a really good thing for Impact, and it gets more eyes on the project. I like that Scott's going there, because just like when Kenny defended, when it was Rich versus Kenny and Tony Khan was there, like, your title's being defended, you should show up in the building in case there's a title change. It makes it look like a legitimate business, or how I would perceive like a legitimate company. If all of a sudden, like, UFC and Bellator decide to have a super fight, I would assume the owner of Bellator would show up if his title was being defended in the UFC. So it just kind of makes sense that way.
Yeah, that's fair. It's I can't see Dark Order winning, but especially with the tapings pre-taped, it's not going to happen. It shouldn't happen, but it's wrestling, so who knows?
Wait, what?
Moving on to number 4.
I think he means the Impact Wrestling tapings.
Oh.
But I don't know. It's very possible you never saw Anderson and Gallows with the belt.
Well, without the belt.
Or without the belt, yeah. So,
Ugh.
I'm really rooting for, by the way, for that Colt Cabana versus CM Punk match in AEW. That's what I want to see. Bring those real blood feuds
Maybe
into
once.
it.
I don't know, man. You know what? It's best if
Yikes.
everyone does business. I know, Craig, you're ready to read the next one. Sorry.
Nah, got a little bit of time, but I mean, yeah, it's Aiden English, Matt Raywalt had some interesting points to make about AW CM Punk on his Twitch, so go check that out if you can. Moving on to number 4, the X Division. What do we see the future being for the X Division? What's the next step in the X Division? Jeff?
I think it's Max, you, me, Max.
Yes.
I mean,
had a few drinks. Yes.
I don't think there necessarily needs to be a next step. I think it's in a great spot where it is now. You have a good group of guys who fit your like X Division mold, who are your high flyers who do all their stuff. But then you get guys who come in, Josh Alexander can do it. Guys who just come in and all of a sudden and are like, or even Austin Aries when he was the X Division champion, who are really ready to take that next step, can go, are great workers, and they fit well in there, but they don't do the high flying. So I think it's a good belt to me to have. You can use it for multiple different things. Sometimes you can use it as a belt that is your next step into the main event title picture. Sometimes you can use it as just a belt where you highlight all your high flyers and look at all this crazy stuff they can do. Other times you use it as just kind of a guy like Samoa Joe. Well, he's not ready for the title picture, but he can still go with all these guys. Or Josh Alexander, when he first won it, he can still keep up with all these guys match-wise. So let's put him in there and let's watch what he can do. I think it serves so many different purposes. I don't think it necessarily needs to be defined as one thing, either your cruiserweight bout or your mid-card bout. It can fit any of those things depending on what they needed to do at that point in time.
Yeah. I'm always torn on this because as a day oneer, it's hard to say, well, the X Division is the, what is that, secondary title or what? Yeah, middleweight.
Yeah.
So, but obviously, it's always been since day one. It's not about weight limits. It's about no limits, right? To me, that modern day hybrid like Josh Alexander, Jake something, Macklin even, it's not about this being the middleweight title or this being a cruiserweight title. I think it's more so about it being the work rate title, and not the other kind of work rate, but like the, them in the ring, who can go, who are the workhorses here, and you could still define that as a young man's game. And back then they would say, oh, this is, X Division, I've upgraded the X Division because I'm older now, or whatever it was. AJ would, in little promos and shit, whatever the fuck they would say. They would question if he could go back to the X Division or whatever. So I like it as that. Do I prefer we were 4 hours a week programming and we had a middleweight belt as well? We could keep it as, as the cruiser or fast-paced matches belt? Yes, but unfortunately it has to evolve slightly because everyone has matches like that now. Everyone does the fast-paced crash wrestling. Unless we get back to having a storytelling middle ground, and then obviously the X Division, which would be crash wrestling. I don't know. I'm fine with it being the workhorse title. Yeah, workhorse open weight style. Yeah. But I get what people are saying, and I get the debate, but I don't think it's anything to stress out about. But of course, I love titles, so I wouldn't argue about a middleweight.
I think they could have a third title. I think if they do, one, I do think they need to figure out maybe an hour-long program on YouTube, just to give more people. But I think if that's the case, if you bring in a title, then the X Division title literally becomes a title that's defended every single week, whether it's on Impact or on your hour-long show. And it becomes a title where it changes hands relatively quickly because you're defending it so much, and one bad night and you can lose it. So I think your title reigns become shorter, and it moves around a lot more because it's young guys who are coming in there, and if you win this, you got a title match next week, and it just continues like that. But if they're not planning on doing that, I think it works where it is kind of a multi-title to fit
But I think you can mix those two together, though, and make a hybrid of that. I really like that idea. I never really thought of it like that, but where you make... Well, we always talk about it being defended every night, and that's how you could lose it and whatever. But if you made it a big deal where it was like the X Division tonight, can he keep the belt? Like, we're all acknowledging that more than likely he's going to lose, I guess, would be what's in our head. But then anything can happen on a slip of a moment or a Pele or, you know what I mean? Something like that. I think that's where the Grand Championship should have went more towards instead of whatever that was, but
what it did. And then instead of days, he's held it for 97, 86. He's defended it 5 times, 6 times. That's what becomes the mark of a good champion, is how many times have you defended it.
Yeah, I like that. It puts a different tone, but also it puts a importance on each match. So, yeah, that's cool. All right.
Yeah. New Japan has the never open weight. Ring of Honor has the pure championship. Impact has the X Division championship. That's the title where you hold it and you make it. You add to the championship doesn't add to you.
Yep.
New Japan has like 900 championships. Like.
Oh yeah.
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 Like 3 different divisions. Yeah. So, 5th and final, Bound for Glory. Set to be one of Impact's biggest shows, probably the biggest show of the year with everything that's rumoured.
Wow.
What do you think should be Impact's post Bound for Glory goals, Jeff?
So this is where I'm torn, because you have to be realistic here, but at the same time, if everything goes flawlessly, which of course with Impact it will not, but if it goes the momentum I think we're building here, and these August fans, I'm trying to be there for September as a birthday present to myself, but if the August fans keep it up, and then the September fans keep it up, and then they go to Vegas, and there's still all these surprises and matches and things going on just like we had at this set of tapings, Impact is on a very good momentum train. And then we found out the stuff about their investment back. Well, we won't get into all that, but you can look in, we'll post it. I think we retweeted it. But about how, they have strategic partners in place for investing to expand and to use when they need be. Don't know the logistics of it. We're still trying to find out some of that. But Impact's waiting. They're playing smart business. They're doing the right thing. But I think after Bound for Glory, if it's what we expect it to be, and we have that momentum building up to it, I think it's time to strike. And Las Vegas is a tough sell. I'm kind of nervous about that. But at the same time, I think we could, or that's what I was saying. I think we could get to where we were, maybe like 2008 Impact. Right before Main Event Mafia, maybe right around there. I think we can get back to that. Now, are you going to say, well, on Access TV, are we going to get 1.2 million viewers? No, we're not going to. Will we get 4, 3, somewhere on there? Yeah, maybe more. But that's Anthem's job to build up Access TV so we could get in more sites. But because we're using YouTube here, if you combined views, do I think we get 1.1? I think we can. Impact Plus as well. I think we can. I also think we can get to a point where we're just one big signing away after Bound for Glory to take that next step. And we have built the foundation, just like the Knicks. Hey, shout out to my Knicks there. And now you're taking one off season to put that next layer on, which I think they have. This YouTube deal, I know I was kind of going on a rant there, but guys, it's for the best. Okay? Because what that could lead to is Access TV on YouTube TV, and that's more revenue and more things for us. And then eventually getting on a channel, if that's what we view it as, being the top of the mountain. But regardless, we could get back to that viewership spread across a bunch of formats. All that they were doing in 2008 were 600 to 800 average in house shows. They can do that. And pay-per-views, yeah, they went few thousand and so, but right now they're having the best 5-digit numbers in sales for pay-per-views that they've had since that era. Or yeah, right around Hogan, right? Before Hogan. So I think it's very plausible to say that Impact necessarily isn't going to be number 2, and I don't mean it by that when I say that, but they can definitely be on the verge of getting a video game and a board game and getting one big signing away, like a Kurt Angle or Christian or whoever it may be, to be that next person. So we're on the right track. And the one thing, that's what I forgot about to mention, number 1, I meant the Bullet Club mentioned in the beginning. The point I want to make is I wear, and I saw a lot of people say, Bullet Club's outdated, fuck them, whatever. Okay, I can understand how it has got watered down or oversaturated over the time, but I think the new era really has brought it back, or at least continuing it. I go to the grocery store quite often, make it really quick. I go there, and I wear a plethora of Impact shirts. I have not a single person ever acknowledge it. Nothing against Impact. I love Impact, obviously. My favorite company. I wore this for the first time ever, and there was an employee who, I mean, no more than 20, tall kid, mask on, was talking to his boss, whatever. I walked by and he goes, "Hey," and I thought he thought I was stealing or something. I was like, "What the fuck, this 20-year-old, whatever?" And he goes, "Eh." And I go, "Oh shit, all right," and kept walking. Baby, this sells, okay? So people who don't want the Bullet Club, next time you go to the grocery store, wear one and you get a 2 sweet, then we'll talk. But, yeah.
I've had that.
Anyways.
You ain't getting moosh chance when you walk.
Oh, not yet. Not yet. Well, we are near Syracuse, so it's possible.
Maybe,
One
yeah,
person
possibly. So what I would like to see is after Bound for Glory, I would like to see them continue to work primarily with New Japan and AEW, continuing to exchange talent, not just bring people over, but I want to see Impact guys go on those shows as well to get more exposure for Impact. I think it's important if you send someone like Chris Bay over to AEW, it's going to get eyes on him and people are going to be like, I need to watch Impact to see this guy. So I think that would be a great idea for them. I also would like to see them go to bi-weekly tapings. So I want to see them basically do 2 episodes at a time, like they used to when we saw AJ Styles go back from Evil Ways to Get Ready to Fly. Tito Ortiz was there, Rampage Jackson, the good old days, at the TED. I want to see that, where they film 2 episodes at a time, because that gives you the ability to work with AEW and New Japan, and if you decide, hey man, we want to do a title change, you only have to worry about 1 other episode filmed and not 6. Worst case scenario for the world is that we go back into lockdown and then they lose the fans. If that happens, I know they probably won't do this. I would like to see them film at Daly's place where AEW films. Simply because, 1, it gives you the ability to still do those crossovers with AEW. And AEW did a really good job of sticking their wrestlers in the crowd to create some type of atmosphere. And I think if you have the Impact roster there as well, you could stick the Impact guys in that crowd too, and it still gives you the vibe. It's obviously not as good as having a real crowd, but it still gives you the vibe that there's some reaction to what's going on. So I think that I'm hoping that we don't go back to that. I'm hoping they can go tour and do what they want. But if that does happen, I think going to Daly's place. Granted, you use AEW stage and everything, whatever.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Our stage, my apologies. If we use our old stage, you could actually make the joke that we've reclaimed our old stage, whatever. But I just think it would be a good way to do if things go that way. But I just want to see them continue to expand on what they've started, because even during the pandemic, they had the Kenny Omega thing happened during the pandemic. Finjuice happened during the pandemic. El Phantasmo, you saw all this stuff. So as this pandemic hopefully, goes away, I want to see them continue it. I think you had mentioned before we got on air that the people that are going to be at Resurgence aren't going back to Japan, which means you're going to have Jay White there for some months, and his buddy is going to be Chris Bay, and just do stuff with these guys, get these guys on TV, and continue to work things.
Yeah, you obviously opened my mind to things that I had written down. I want to hit on a few things. One, because of what we're doing with YouTube, not us, but Impact, the company, I want to also mention that it's worldwide. I think I said in there, and I forgot to say, we've been talking, it's worldwide. Easy worldwide. To the point where, well, Craig's not in a very foreign country, but you can watch it, right?
Yes, finally.
Okay. Which they couldn't. That we thought that was a market that they've hit the shitter on. So if they market it right to UK fans, you got to connect back there. You already got the deals across the world, but someone in China can watch Impact. You know what I mean? So it's worldwide, so it helps us grow, which if there's the pandemic slows down, we're allowed to keep sending people around the world. We could finally do a UK tour. I want a UK tour back, and I see Akeem said 4 to 5 years on a game, and I love him for being so patient, but I want one. I want one next year, man, and it's possible. If they
can't get a game, they should reach out to. I know I'm talking about a team with AEW, but getting their people in AEW, similar to when WCW versus the NWO versus the World came out, and you had all these guys from other companies. Now, granted, a lot of times they changed who they were, but I think it would be cool to just say, hey, can we get our guys in here? Because then you can have, well, let's just reach out to them, and then as you grow, you can split off and create your own game.
WCW World Tour was the equivalent of an NCAA basketball game on Xbox or anything. It was like they had images. The image was similar, and you knew who it was supposed to be, but they couldn't use the name. Except one, Samoa Joe was on there, and that's where Samoa Joe got his name. So, the more you know.
Yeah, it's over here in a 5-star wrestling video game, and there was like Kirk Angel and
he loves Canada.
Like Randy Orton, things like that. It was so stupid, but you know who they were.
Oh man, yeah, but no, I really think we can all agree that if everything keeps progressing the way it will, or the way it is, and the tapings continuously knock it out of the park, and then they go do AAA, and then they go do NWA tournament, and man, this is the tip of the iceberg. We're finally going to be seeing the positives of it. And once again, to tie it all in, there's a whole crop of talented people that are out of jobs that really deserve them. So the indies, if knock on wood, things get back to normal, stay like this, or get better, the rebirth of the indies is going to happen sooner than we expected. So WWE can't hold us down forever. All right, we got a little extra time, and I know we're gonna blab on about the booking here, so we're gonna cut it to a commercial. Craig, do you want to kick it to it, or do you want me to introduce it since it's?
Not up to you.
Yeah, fuck it.
Put the magic on
right.
it.
Yeah, we'll do spit shine. No, I don't got really anything exciting. Except that for us, I always say this, transparent as be, we just want to meet some cool people doing this and build a community of fans that all have not the same mind. We can argue. We know about that in the chat group. We could debate. You could put your comments on our YouTube, and we're not going to tell you to F off. If you try to sell us on buying subscribers or followers, though, Max will take you out of the chat group. We realize that. But yeah, we just want to meet like-minded people who want to give their own take on wrestling and be part of a community that supports each other and so on. So obviously you saw us working with Rangers of Wrestling. Now here's a commercial for someone I had the honor of talking to and being on their show a few months back, and we get to go back. And I think we're going to do Unbreakable 05, so I'm really excited. But here's Apron Bump's commercial. If you're a fan of TNA old, WWF old, anything older, he reviews all of them. It's great shit, and he's a funny guy. Here you go.
What's up, everybody? I am the hardest part of the ring, the host of the Apron Bump podcast. Ugh, another wrestling podcast. How many times can I listen to fans tell me who needs a push, who doesn't need a push, who brings Vince's coffee these days? Enough! The Apron Bump is about the journey. It's about nostalgia. It's about discovering new forms of wrestling to really tickle your pickle as a wrestling fan. The podcast brings you reviews of wrestling events all over the world, whether it's WWF, WWE, WCW, ECW. We even cover the golden eras of Ring of Honor, Progress, TNA. and more promotions in the future as well. New episodes every Wednesday. Bump day, yeah? Go to apronbump.com or go to your favorite podcast platform or YouTube and subscribe today for the most diverse, fan-friendly wrestling podcast in the world. I'm Hard.
All right, everyone, go like, subscribe, follow, listen to Apron Bump. Like he said, you can find pretty much anything, retro, modern, anything in between indie. They review it, and it's a good time. At least to film it and to watch. All right, so here is the game I'm excited to play. We always fantasy book things. We did Slammiversary last time. We've come up with... we try to be reasonable here. There wasn't going to be Omega versus Punk headlining Bound for Glory. But we all came up with the same parameters, some matches we needed to come up with to book Bound for Glory, our way too early booking of Bound for Glory. As you can see, we have the world title. We needed to have a match for Kenny Omega. We have knockouts. We're expecting Perazo to defend against somebody. Alexander to defend. Decay or Death Dealers defending as the Knockouts tag champs. Good Brothers, we just said put them in a match because I feel like the tag belts could be not up for grabs in this when it comes down to them. And then Moose as well, of course, getting a high profile match. Could you make a case for him being the world title? Sure. But maybe, here's a reference for you, maybe they pull a Bash at the Beach and Booker T loses to Canyon in the third match and then goes back in the main event and wins the title. Kind of like Rollins did, right? Or was it Orton? Rollins. It was Rollins at WrestleMania. All right. And then we have 3 other matches for shits and gigs. Eddie. Well, we didn't put Eddie in there because I think we're going to use Eddie in some other places. But we'll see. Eddie always makes the card. He will always make the card. But let me pull this up. And put it over here so I can see. All right. Where do we start, guys? Do you want to start at world title since we all have parameters for that? And see if we all... where we go from there?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, Craig, you don't get to talk as much. Keep you awake. Why don't you go?
So I went pretty simple on this. I went Kenny Omega versus Sami Callihan. I think they're going to do a rematch. I think it'll be Bound for Glory.
Okay. Max.
I don't know what the parameters were, but nothing crazy. But I'm going Omega versus Alexander.
Okay. And I
think he uses option C.
Well, now he could still, even though we have him defending there, but he could still. I went Omega Eddie Edwards. If Moose wasn't going to be on the board for the main event, I like Eddie being a savior. I think you could make a nice story about that. And who the hell doesn't want to see Omega versus Eddie? It'd be crazy. All right, so in the chat group or guys online, we won't lock them in per se. But if you can, tell us your opinions, we'll pop in there whoever we think. And, of course, we'll all go back and finally agree on something once we see how this all shakes out. All right, next up, we got Deonna Purrazzo defending her Knockouts Championship against who? Max?
See, I'm torn here because I'm not sure if... I'm going to go with Chelsea Green.
Okay.
I still think Deonna's going to walk out of Bound for Glory as champion. So I was thinking Taylor Wilde, but I think Taylor might be the one to beat her. And I think Deonna's going to walk out as champion, so I'm going to go with Chelsea Green.
Okay. Craig?
I went with someone I went with for this Bound for Glory, this Slammiversary rather. It feels like it's going to happen. I think it's going to be title for title. Deonna Purrazzo versus Britt Baker.
Ooh.
Okay.
Mine's kind of as exciting. I went with the cross promotion technically as well, even though she has theme music from Impact. Mickie James. I went Mickie James. The storyline is cooking now. I don't know if Deonna wins NWA or not. I have a feeling Melina. Let's give a shout out to Melina, by the way. I mean, that's awesome to see her back.
Yes.
By the way, if I tried those splits like she did, people would have been carrying me out of the arena. That would have been the end of my night.
She never ages.
There's an
Never
excellent
ages. God bless her. I remember we saw her at the Royal Rumble not too long ago in person. Like, she was at the hotel we were staying at. And just looks the same. Still looks... God.
Tim Tebow, by the way, was at the hotel we were staying at for
We prayed with him.
Slammiversary.
Prayed for a good slam. Is that what it was?
I changed my mind about 3 times on this match. I changed my mind about 3 times.
What was your other...
I went with Mickey, and I also went with Chelsea Green.
Okay.
But I decided on Britt Baker.
I think the Britt Baker one would be awesome.
Okay.
They want it to happen. They've said they want it to happen. So.
Well, let's put it out there. It's hard for me to get behind that because the match would be great, but then there's that after of, oh, you got beat. I don't care about that personally, but I'd rather it be, a nice, positive Bound for Glory, I guess. So, yeah, guys, vote if you're listening live here or if you're watching on YouTube, or even you could comment on any of our audio platforms. Right now we have Omega versus, we nominated, what was it, Sammy? I said Eddie Edwards. You said and Josh Alexander. All great, viable options. Perazzo, I said Mickey James. Craig said Britt Baker. Max led to Chelsea Green. All great options as well and very viable. But let's move on to the X Division title. Say Alexander doesn't cash in. Who do you see him facing? Is it one person, 2, 3, 4, 5? What are we expecting here? Oh, Craig. Or Matt.
So,
Yeah,
I think one, and I think I couldn't quite decide. So I go for I kind of with the not so outside the box that it would never happen because it possibly could. But I went Josh Alexander versus Miro. They want to say AEW's best WWE champion.
Craig is over here just full-blown title versus title.
He's just walking back AEW saying, "Who's coming with me?"
Yeah, by the end of Craig's Bound for Glory, Impact has no titles left.
I don't think Miro will be champion by that point.
Oh, that's a great one in the group there. Buddy Murphy versus Alexander. Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh.
Max, what was your thought?
So, in my fantasy booking, Alexander has cashed in and won't be in this match. But assuming he is, I think he defends against Chris Bay. And if he does cash in and it's not him, I would have gone Ace Austin versus Chris Bay. But I think Chris Bay gets that X Division title shot.
Here's what I've got. I've got they paid for here. One thing I know about TNA, we all could say, is budget pretty low, right? And it's getting back, but even back then we had X Division belts fall off Ultimate X all the time. It was some things that are LOL.
The contract fell off at one time, didn't they? And they fought for the clipboard.
So I'll say this: if they spent the money building a penalty box cage for King of the Mountain, that homecoming thing, I think we get a King of the Mountain here. He references it too much. I don't think he cashes in, but I do want him to start going for the heavyweight title, so I think this is a way for him to lose it. And I think you get to put a multi-people here, which you need to put, and get on your television screen. Ace Austin, Trey Miguel. I have that third spot either going to Macklin or Raju, someone of that nature. And then the fourth being Ishimori, coming back. The Bone Soldier getting that fifth spot. So I would like to see a King of the Mountain match with Alexander, Ishimori, Ace Austin, Trey Miguel, and then Macklin, whoever storyline pertains, Taurus or whoever we need. So let's hear that as well, guys. A lot of great options there. It doesn't matter who Josh Alexander faces. We know it's going to be a banger. So let's see. Let's see what happens. KO tag. We have Decay still holding on to it, or the Death Dealers in Rosemary and Havoc. What are we thinking here, Max?
Part of me deep down hopes that it's Tennille and Caleb with a K versus Decay. But I'm going to go with Jordan Grace and Rachel Eller.
Okay. Craig?
I'm going to save some of my crazy stuff for later.
I went with, and I think it's probably going to be a cinematic match. I hope it will be Decay versus Kimberly and Su Young.
Yeah. So I was stuck between that and them wanting to showcase their tag division, women's tag, knockouts tag division, on their biggest pay-per-view of the year. They want to say, hey guys, we do have tag teams. We have established tag teams. Here we go. So I put a four corners match. I know it's a lot of people, but I think this is the time of the year you want to get a lot of them out there. I have Decay, I have Grayson Ellering, I have Sue and Kimber, and I have Tasha and Evans. So I think this is a great place to say, hey, we have four established tag teams now, if not more, by that time. You know, who knows where the Iconics land, or Tenille, or whatever. No spoilers. But I think this is a time to showcase it. But we'll see. We'll vote on it at the end. You guys, once again, tell us your opinions at TNAIW channel, or comment and like, subscribe, all that jazz. As we move on to the next one, which was, we said the Good Brothers would be in something. You could have had them in a tag match for the titles. You could have them in a multi-man match, which is where I went. Craig, is it on you? I think it's your turn.
Yeah, so I do think this will be for the tag team titles, and I do think it'll be a multi-man match, multi-team match. I think we get the Good Brothers versus a team from AAA in Drago and Aerostar versus Chris Bay and Jay White.
Okay. Max?
Okay, I like that.
Yeah,
I think that's a good one. But I think it is a singles match, or just a 2v2. I don't think it's a multi-tag match. I think it is for the Impact Tag titles, and I think it's Good Brothers versus God. We're eventually going to see that Bullet Club versus the Elite. It's going to happen. I've almost put Kenny Omega versus Jay White as my world title picture, but I don't think that Impact at Bound for Glory is going to have AEW versus New Japan in their head.
Right.
So I'm going with Good Brothers versus Guerrillas of Destiny.
So, this is where I kind of went a little. This is my biggest reach. And not reach. I don't think it's a reach, but I have the Good Brothers not defending, but tagging with their brothers in the Young Bucks, going against Jay White, Chris Bay, and God.
Okay.
Elimination style, maybe. I don't know, something cool like that. But I think that's a big match that would be a good time. Hey, LAX coming back is another route I was thinking, just because I feel like they'll be back for Bound for Glory. I don't know why, but I just had that vibe of that being what happens there. But a lot of good options for them. Let's move on to Moose before we round up and kind of go back through and actually put some names in places. Max, why don't you hit me with your Moose match?
I'm going to go Moose versus Sami Callihan.
Okay.
I think they build to it. I do think it'll be a number one contenders match. Possibly the end to the Bound for Glory series. I just think those two would be a good matchup, and it would set up for your next, give your new champion, Josh Alexander, a good first feud to go into.
Nice. Craig?
See, now, this is another cross promotion match, but it's thinking back to the report of the New Japan Stars not being able to return to Japan for a while, and of this wrestler doing an interview on his time in TNA, as I think it was, Moose versus Tanahashi. Star match. You want Moose to be a star. Tanahashi will do wonders in this match.
Okay.
I nearly went Marufuji, but I'm not sure if Noah are involved in this.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I prefer Tanahashi over Marufuji again. I went New Japan as well. I don't know the logistics. We're just booking to book. I went Okada. I think Moose versus Okada would be a Bound for Glory match. Doesn't matter if Moose loses. But he could say, hey, I barely lost the Bound for Glory series. If there is one, or I got screwed on my last title match, I am the best around here. Everyone knows that I have beaten everyone. He goes on a I will beat everyone kind of craze. And he has no one left to beat. except Kenny. But unfortunately, he isn't able to get that title shot, so maybe he asked for an opponent and to test his skills, and this is what they come up with. I don't know. That's what I went with. Now, Max or Craig, did you guys come up with another 3, or did you just was that where we stopped? I have. Okay,
others.
so let's.
Yeah, I have
Craig,
two
why don't we
more.
go with you first, and then we'll swing it to Max, and then back to me, and because I got some extras as well.
Okay, so, I went for a tag team match. Like a marquee tag team match. This time it's Impact vs AEW in Violent by Design of whichever two they choose to put out, versus the Inner Circle of Santana and Ortiz.
Okay, I like that.
Okay. I'm going with. See, I know one of the people I have 2 people that I was thinking about going with, but I'm going to go with Drama King versus Christian Cage.
Oh,
I think that him coming out and doing a promo, Drama King, and then Christian's music hit would just be perfect. So that's what I'm going with. I think Christian comes back at Bound for Glory.
Oh, that'd be beautiful. Is that that was your other?
Oh, my other ones. Okay, so after that, my second one is Eddie Edwards versus Jay White.
Like that?
And I think it is for Jay White's title. I do think they have him defend it. I think Jay White keeps the title. So I think Bullet Club sweeps the night. But I think Eddie Edwards versus Jay White is a match that is just something that has to happen. I think it would be a great match. And then my third one is going to be Violent by Design versus Willie Mack and Rich Swann for your tag team number 1 contenders.
Okay. Yeah, I had Willie versus Rich. I don't know. Feel like it could be a good blow-off feud. And I wanted to work them in singles. Obviously, depends on what happens from here with Violent by Design. I have a Call Your Shot Battle Royal because I think this is the time of year, once again, where Impact likes... they like to impact it. They like to showcase their people, give some comedy spots in there, and then debut some people as well. And I think that's a great place for, say, a Killer Kelly to come in and finally come in here. It's a nice spot for someone returning, a Christopher Daniels or a Suicide, and he takes off the mask. So there's a lot of fun things that can happen there. I would pop if I heard the Pope's music played. Shout out to the Pope, by the way. Shouldn't have lost that title. NWA, that's why I can't watch you. How dare you put it on... Take it away from Tyrus. Or take it away and put it on Tyrus. God Lord. So I think, the amount of pops you get, especially from the fans, and they could play us like a marionette, man. Call Your Shot Battle Royal makes sense. The one other match I have is, because I saved Sammy for something else, I don't think we get, but I could believe we get Sammy versus Jon Moxley. And some kind of a crazy match there. Why not? I think they're going to be the ones that tag against the Good Brothers coming up here. Obviously they're a team together, but hey, anything can happen. And brothers fight sometimes. So I think that would be a crazy, crazy match in a hell of a lot of entertainment. So great matches across the board here. There's tons of good stuff. I see a lot of good ones in the chats. But let's, for shits and giggles, put something together. Okay, let's think it out here. Who should we have? Who would make the most sense for Omega to face? It has to be someone of Impact's, right? Like
yeah. I mean, if you throw a third person, like if you throw Omega, Jay White, and Impact, I could see that. But I don't. I think if you're looking at a multi-man match, your best option is Omega versus 2 Impact people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, so much of it depends, I feel like, on what happens with AEW's bout. Like, is Omega still AEW champion at that time? Because if he is, I think you get a multi-man match. If he isn't, if he's already lost the AEW title, I think it's probably just him versus possibly Moose or Alexander.
Can you... Does anyone know when the Pittsburgh Dynamite is? Is that this coming week?
I think
and
so.
when is Christian Cage's title opportunity?
They haven't
They
said
haven't?
anything yet. I'm hoping it's never, but it's coming eventually. I think they said they're possibly. I think people are guessing either All Out because they think if Punk's debuting, they didn't want to have like a big title
Right.
change, and then Punk debuts and no one talks about a title
Correct.
change. So I think there's a possibility it's Christian Cage at All Out is what kind of people are speculating.
That makes a lot of sense from a booking way of looking at it and business-wise. But I was hoping that it was in Pittsburgh as well, because if Scott D'Amore is going to be there with the Good Brothers, maybe Christian shows his true colors, and I think they're red and white.
That would be incredible. But I think Christian was like number 2 in their power rankings essentially.
Hey, all of this is
I mean,
it's all planned.
their number one person just lost, so like he's no longer in the top.
Well, he's
They
going
find
to take
the
some
power
time
rankings.
off allegedly,
Ranking.
and I think you're right. I think that's a great way to look at it. Is that you don't want to, if he does debut, which seems to be likely, you don't want to take away the buzz from a Hangman
Correct.
Page finally winning the title.
Number 1 is Jungle Boy. And Jungle Boy already lost to Kenny Omega. So I really hope Jungle Boy gets run over by somebody. Christian maybe. But like I think Christian's gonna be your person that does
Okay.
it. But
So, with that being said, I see some great ideas here. Callahan, Moose, and Omega. I like the idea of giving them both the shot since it makes sense. For me, I just feel like that this is bound for glory, right? Like, it needs to be something that has build up, not recycled. And I don't like the idea of 2 Impact guys. I don't know why. I don't know. I just don't like spots where it's like, okay, we team, but only for this little part. And then they break. Oh, we missed them.
yeah,
It's the
no, I
same
agree.
formula.
Yeah,
I do. I think unless it's Omega versus White versus Impact person, I think you're just seeing Omega versus somebody
Yeah.
in one-on-one.
Yeah.
but I mean, if you add Jay White into it, it's like you're overdoing it with the interpromotional stuff. Jay White doesn't really need to be in this title shot or title picture. He's doing the whole thing with Finlay at the minute.
Hey,
I don't see where Jay White fits in to a title
Yeah,
picture.
They've got time. They've got time to build
Yeah,
it though.
yeah.
So they have till
Hey,
October.
anything
so...
can happen here in these next 2 tapings that leads up to,
Yeah.
the Okada could fall from the sky. You know what I mean? You don't know who's coming in your lap. Well, they do. We don't.
See, New Japan do these like send their rookies essentially on excursions, right? So on different tours too. I hope that they send Gabriel Kidd to Impact. Gabriel Kidd is a phenomenal athlete. He's from like 20 minutes away from where I live. Gabriel Kidd is a future star, and I hope how he comes to Impact and just dominates X Division because he's that good.
He's a Brit.
Yeah, he's from.
Well, it'd be pretty good then if they do their tour back over there finally, and then he gets the. I loved when they used to do that, man. Like when that whole thing was going on with AJ and the Bullet Club or the Good Brothers maybe coming back to Impact around that time, and he's like supposedly even AJ helped them decide which guys to kind of target in England to be on that tour with Impact. And of course it was it was Gaburik, so he fucked it up. But yeah, it was Ospreay, Dame. Wait, was it Dame?
Big Damo.
Yep.
Yeah, Big
And
Damo. Jimmy Havoc.
and Havoc and
say about
somebody
him.
else.
Yeah, it was Damo, Ospreay,
Havoc and
and
it's gonna be a question for next time. All right, but yeah, so I always liked when they would suggest people or bring people in just for that taping, just to show off the hometown person. I know it's a cheap pop, but I like it, and it showcases some talent in the process. So maybe that'd be a great spot for. I would love for a group of that doesn't have to be British Invasion again, but it'd be nice to have a presence on the Impact show of some of our UK family.
Yeah, I mean from week 2 there was a Brit on TNA in week 2. Johnny Storm, who debuted with Chris Sabin. He's incredible. Even now he's incredible. Bring Jody Flash and Johnny Storm on Impact. obviously they've had an Impact title shot before, so it would make sense. And just bring them all what's called the Heritage. It's a group run by Doug Williams.
Oh, nice.
Of wrestler called Dean Allmark, and Jody Fleisch. The Heritage of British Wrestling. Bring those three in, and you've got a faction there. Then.
Well, I would love Doug to be back and be the head of a stable. I think it's a great idea. And that's one thing that we haven't mentioned here. Bound for Glory tends to be, as Max kind of at least mentioned, one with Christian. Obviously, we have a Hall of Fame that we talked about last week, and someone's going to be there from the past. And then on top of that, you have they always like to bring those little surprises that are, they're not always going to stay for the long time, for the long haul there, but they're a nice little surprise, and they stay for the tapings, and they're out by whatever. We see it with Jazz, we see it with ODB, James Storm, even though I think James Storm, AMW has to come back at some point, right?
Yeah, aren't they at WrestleCade or something?
The Wolves are wrestling again together. It just feels like you wrestle these matches elsewhere to get your rhythm and your chemistry back, and then you come to Impact and tear the roof down at Bound for Glory. I would love to see that. All right, guys, we got 9 minutes left, and not one thing booked, but we had a lot of good options, and I think what we can do is either come to agreement based on what you guys say in the comments here, or you write us at TNAIW channel on Twitter, or we could just put all of our different things out, and people can comment what they like or don't like, and we can mush them together at some point. So
maybe that could be the Monday game.
Oh, there we go. There we go. I like how you think. All right. Max, you got anything? I don't ask what you're watching anymore because I assume it's some kind of other sport. But are you?
Well, right now it's the Olympics.
I did watch last night. Go USA.
USA, yeah. Maybe it's Kevin Durant was the savior for USA basketball. Maybe he's the savior for Impact too. And Kevin Durant. 6'12", Kevin Durant. He's not 7 feet. He's 6'12".
Well, I mean, Lionel Messi is now a free agent.
That's true. He's probably signing.
Yeah, he'll be an AEW. Yeah.
Definitely a member of the Elite.
Yeah, definitely a member. And who else? Who just got released?
Let's be realistic. He's probably signing with WWE, and they'll probably send him to the Performance Center.
Who, Messi?
Messi, yeah, that seems to be the way.
They'll sign him. He'll be on Raw. He'll manage AJ Styles, and then they'll cut, Adam Cole and Bobby Fish and a bunch of people or something. I don't know. Got to make room, baby.
Messi's still in his prime. He's only 35.
Man, you know what's funny, kind of in an ironic way, is Joe. The first week Joe's back, we get the news that NXT might be dying as the form that it is. Joe is gonna kill you, indeed. It's what a sad. I hope it doesn't happen. I mean,
I think it's weird because I feel like they put NXT, like they just built it up. Right. I don't know. I think I liked it. It's funny because I liked it back when you had like the 4 horsewomen there and Finn, and it was people who were ready to move up, not people who you were like, this guy should be on the main roster, but for some reason, like Adam Cole. Adam Cole needs to be on the main roster.
Well, maybe now, $1 million contract is possible.
Yeah, but or maybe he's going someplace else because they didn't even realize his ass was contract.
I don't know, man. The dude, I love him, but he weighs 80 pounds. It's hard to sell. I just can't see Vince getting, and that's why I think they sell. If they're going to give that money to someone like that they think is a game changer, Vince ain't running that for much longer, or he's gonna be the next Fandango.
It'll probably be Pete Dunne. If anything, if out of Adam Cole and Pete Dunne, I think they're going to aim for Pete Dunne. Triple H is a big fan of him. Vince McMahon, I'm guessing.
I think they get both. They still got the money. They just cut a bunch of people.
I think Adam Cole ends up going to AEW, just because Britt Baker's there.
Who wants to work? I say this all the time, man. You don't want to work with your wife.
Yeah, well, so I agree with that, except when in a wrestling world, especially if they go back touring, where you see her once every 3 weeks.
Hey,
now, granted, that may be your
that might be a selling point. I'm just saying.
For you, that may be your dream life.
People. Hey, look at the Matt Cardona article that came out. with him and he was saying about Chelsea Green about it's awesome. They asked him how it's nice to be on the road. He's like, well, I like my supplements out. And I like to, I have a time schedule, and she has the cleaners coming. So, hey, man, some people just business and pleasure. Except together. I love them on Impact. I do, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if everybody goes back to touring, at least touring with your significant other and not being like, man, we haven't seen each other in 3 months, is going to eventually be a selling point for sure.
It might be. And it also might be a selling point that all these people are getting a release and they all can't go to AEW, but everyone seems to think they are. So we'll see what happens there. Exactly. It's going to be an interesting time. And I for all the people out there saying Vince doesn't know what he's doing, yes, he does. He's crazy, but he's genius crazy.
Vince understands the best point in wrestling was the Monday Night Wars.
Well, yeah, now he's...
You got to give AEW the talent to get back there so you can get back to that point in the world.
Man, but
so then when he wins, he can write a documentary that's super one-sided about the rise and fall of AEW.
Yeah.
And then have a random WrestleMania match with, I don't know, Adam Cole versus I don't know, AJ in their 50s, and so they can just so the Undisputed Era can come out, and just so the Bullet Club can come out and just destroy.
Yeah, I don't get it. But I mean, eventually it's going to be a trickle down effect. We're in for a boom. It's got to happen, and we're all on the coattails of it, and I'm really excited about that. So it's going to be a good time for Impact. Great episode coming up as well. Really excited to see some things that I could finally talk about. Some things, obviously, this week with Melina. You never know who's going to show up on Impact. I'm excited. It's a really exciting time. And tell us what you think about Bound for Glory, what you hope to see, what you think will be the card, what you hope will be the card. No CM Punks here, people. It's not going to happen. But it's okay if it doesn't. Because Impact's in a great place. And thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting them. Craig, you want to say goodbye?
Yeah, just do the whole thing. You know the drill by now. If you don't, just follow us wherever you see us. If you see us, follow us. It all helps. Without you listening, we would be talking to ourselves. So
yeah,
I guess we'll see you all next week for some more nonsense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Kind of a couple minutes short, so we're not just blabbing on. Right?
Yeah, I agree. The thing about CM Punk is it's hard to come out and say you're the best in the world when you get destroyed in your 2 MMA fights. It just doesn't. Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar both proved that they can do it. CM Punk, you're kind of taking that step down, 6th, 7th in the world, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe it's clobbering time. Who knows? Not for us though. Hey, we got some exciting new cats that are in Impact. Cats and kittens. I can't say enough. We have a few minutes. I'm gonna blab because there's a lot of talk. I don't get to talk to everyone. I have to go right after the show. Family things. But I have a lot. I rewatched Impact so I could review it again today. I was like, okay, I actually have some time to do it. And man, some really cool things that I'm noticing, man, especially with fans like No Way Jose and Fallah Bahh, who I don't give any credit to, let's be honest. I mean, I give them now they saw them in person, there's fans around, there's energy. But they're okay. They're fun to have, and it comes across that way on TV. It doesn't look bad. Cardona and Chelsea Green, which everyone's, who needs... Drama King. He comes off as a star. Did anyone...
Yeah.
Right? The lighting, the shooting of it, these are the kind of people, and that's what I wanted to get to, that Impact, in going back to the Jordan Grace thing, too, that I think maybe we were talking about off there, where they kind of changed her... or they used her one thing as clickbait. It's not about Impact having the lighter schedule. It's about those people wanting a lighter schedule so they can pursue all the other stuff they want to do. Impact is the home of creative people. They're the artists of the professional wrestling world. I firmly believe that. And I think that it will continue to be that way, where we grab those guys who want to paint a picture without anyone interfering. So, really exciting shit. Anyone want to end it off, or do you want to just fade away and
fade into the abyss? It's been fun. See everybody
Yeah.
next.
Straight away. Clap.
More nonsense.
Call us obsolete. Right? Isn't that a thing? Isn't that a song? All right, guys. Bye.
Later.